Introduce yourself, bro.
Well, this is Richie, and
It's Tim.
we joke around a lot, but we do have interesting conversations. We do talk about things that are actually meaningful, and we're more fashion and entrepreneur oriented, but there's always going to be a lot of other stuff in between, and there's always something that you should be able to take away that is useful. So, without further ado, Mr. African man drinking the tea.
Drinking the tea, you know that. I gotta represent.
Yeah, well, it's an international link up, innit?
Tell him, bro. Hey, actually, we just saw Burna Boy's show yesterday. Who was performing in Jamaica.
Bruh!
The whole shit.
You saw the whole show?
The whole show.
I ain't seen it yet. I seen clips from it.
We saw the whole show, and we saw Popcorn came on before that too.
Bro,
there is a whole hour too.
There is controversy around the whole Popcorn thing, and bro, you don't even know. Him and Drake, they released a song on Friday.
I heard it.
Yo, that's
she made me listen to it.
It slapped. I think it slapped.
You like the song?
I liked it. I think it's.
I mean, they didn't do anything I didn't expect them to do, bro.
No, but that one's a certified hit. The sauce is there. You hear it. The sauce.
Their last song, what was Twist and Turn? Was it Twist and Turn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one slapped.
That was on Fixed Tape, by the way. I love Popcorn.
Yo, but he has a new album coming out and thing too. I'm not plugging Popcorn's album. No, not doing that.
Now, Popcorn's a real nigga, and he deserves to be out.
Well, I don't know after this shit that I've been hearing coming out of Jamaica.
Is what the fuck it is, bro. Popcorn stays Popcorn, and we
I love
his music is fire, man. Shout out to Popcorn still.
Yeah, on God. I love his music. Now, the other shit, yeah.
I don't know about the other stuff.
Not my business. Not my business.
Listen, whatever he did or he didn't do, I don't want to know about it. I don't want it to cloud the way I see it. You know what I'm saying? Just let it go.
Not my business. Not my business.
Either way, I thought about something interesting today.
What?
I thought about business in the context of Marcus Garvey. I was talking to Mo earlier, and...
Oh, say hi, Mo.
Hello.
Try not to sound creepy, Mo.
Exactly that whiskey boy. Hello there.
I have the creepy background voice. I can live with that.
Well, either way, there's this thing you told me about Marcus Garvey, and it was about this saying or this quote that he made that nobody's ever going to build a civilization and just hand it over to you. And I was thinking about that from a business perspective, and also as a connection to where you are from and where I'm from, because that has everything to do with it, and what my responsibility is in contributing to the development of said places that we come from.
Yeah, but you see that I think one of the interesting things about if we're gonna take a stroll down memory lane and we talk about Marcus Garvey, right? One of the interesting things about Marcus Garvey was that he's self-taught. Yeah, he was self-taught since he's but
Peter, man.
I know about the RIP thing. That man's a god. Anyways,
yeah, he lives forever.
you know what I mean.
Anyway, don't let me cut you off.
Man's not resting.
I'm gonna let you finish, but
I'm gonna let you finish.
Yeah.
No, man's a god blood. But that man, he pioneered a way of seeing, our being. Or who we could be.
Yeah.
And this was basically at the time too when the so-called black struggle was being fronted by people like W.E.B. Du Bois. And that motherfucker I will hate forever. Some people might like him. Black Americans will revere him he's some. But that man was it's funny because I think he had a statement. I can't remember the exact quote. But he said the Negro is the Negro's greatest enemy. And Du Bois, because he was intellectual, he had gone to all of the fine schools and whatever not, and he was university educated and whatever not. He looked down on Marcus Garvey in terms of Marcus Garvey,
his educational background.
Yeah,
and everything
exactly.
And
it was he's
everybody needs to go to these fancy schools to be smart or whatever.
Yeah, and he was basically making it seem like Marcus Garvey wasn't fit to
be a leader.
Yeah, but this is also another thing because I struggle with saying that because one of the things I think about is that why is it that we always have to have black leaders? You know what I mean? I ain't seen nobody talk about white leaders. Who's a white leader?
I understand.
You know what I mean? So I always struggle with that. But basically, that was what it became like a competition between the boys and Marcus Garvey. And Marcus Garvey was just like, I'm just steady doing my thing. And the boys was always trying to tear him down. And I have never seen or heard of since, before, and probably never will, of a black man that has had the amount of power that Marcus Garvey had.
Influence in him.
And imagine being the leader of an organization, coming from a poor boy who went at 14 years old to Kingston to find his first job and become a printer, yeah? And then to the pinnacle of his worldwide recognition, being the leader of an organization for 11 million people. Think about that. That is a population of a lot of countries, bro.
This was a man of vision.
But he knew, like, he had one of the big, actually he had the biggest black-owned shipping company, the Black Star Line. There are so many things that Marcus Garvey, like, he planted the seeds for. Yeah? And that is also why, and this might be a little bit personal now, but that's also why I named my son Marcus. Because, like, I wanted him to grow up one day and ask me, you know, Dad, why did you name me Marcus?
Yeah.
And my first thought is always going to be, I would give him that book, Philosophies and Opinions of Marcus Garvey. I'll give it to him and let him read that. Because the entrepreneurial spirit, and it's funny, like, because we come back to entrepreneurship.
I mean, that was the whole idea, dog.
The entrepreneurial spirit of Marcus Garvey put not just him in a position. And I think that's what entrepreneurship should be about. It should never be about putting yourself in a position to succeed, but making sure that everybody else around you and everything you touch has become success.
So you're like a guy who opened doors.
You have to be that, because if you don't become that, your success will ultimately be your downfall.
Yeah.
You know, because if you start thinking like it's a zero-sum game and whatever you need to do or whatever you are doing has to be done in order for your personal success and eliminating all others, you are creating enemies. And you are closing doors to opportunities as well. Because the best way to succeed is always to cooperate, is always to find partners that you can do things with.
To bring people together so we can all eat, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think that is one thing that we lack as a black people, especially living on this side of the world.
But not just this side of the world, but I mean, like, ask yourself this, yeah? How many black millionaires do we see on the TV screen?
Just plenty.
How many black billionaires do we hear about?
A lot.
You know what I mean? And not because I want to, but because I have to, since we're talking about this. Kanye West, yeah? How do you become a billionaire off the backs of disrespecting your ancestry? Because for me, what he said way back in, I think, 2016, about slavery being a choice is disrespect. Like, it doesn't matter how rich you get. It doesn't matter how... your history and your ancestry should be sacred.
It is sacred and should always be sacred.
You know? And then I don't know exactly what he's done as a philanthropy-wise. Like, I don't know what he's done. But I don't get the impression that he is for the black community, if you know what I mean.
Oh, man.
And it's not just him. This is the thing. It's not just him. A lot of people want to get rich for themselves and their immediate circle.
I think it's not so much an issue or black people, but it's so much the issue of opportunity, bro. Like, if we had more people from our community who get in those kind of spaces, then we will have a lot of people who actually do the right thing. But we don't have that many black billionaires, so whichever black billionaire comes in and they fuck up, you hear about it. But we don't, you know, it's human nature at the end of the day, bro. And we hold him to a standard, but like, how high can you actually hold Kanye to a standard? I mean, he's his own man.
Yeah, yes and no, I understand the argument. And I'm not just talking in terms of billionaires. I mean, black millionaires far outweigh
that's true.
the billionaires, you know?
Yeah, of course.
So, if you look at the amount of people who are black billionaires, and then you look at who are black millionaires, you can ask yourself, then why haven't black people as a race, because I put that in quotation marks too, because race is a social construct, and that's probably a discussion for a totally different time.
Yeah, man.
But why haven't we moved forward?
I mean, some have moved forward, but the vast majority is.
I mean, collectively, why haven't we moved forward?
Oh yeah, you mean like in terms of like the whole group? Yeah.
And ironically, my opinion is, I think it's because of culture. I think there's a certain culture within the black community, and the culture creates a mindset, and the mindset is not conducive to success, unfortunately.
Yeah, I hear you.
And then we have the reverse of that, which is our culture becomes a resource for a lot of other people to profit off.
Yeah, well, we've seen that happen.
You know?
Yeah.
And we could cry culture vulture all we want, but the fact of the matter is, if we are not actively protecting it and using it for our benefit, then somebody is going to do it.
Yeah, somebody's always going to see the opportunity, but they will take it. Yeah. But I would like to hear from you, actually. How do you think Marcus Garvey, or his message, affects the entrepreneur or the black entrepreneur in 2023 as is?
I think Marcus Garvey is relevant for everybody. More so maybe, you know, black people and black entrepreneurs. But Marcus Garvey is actually relevant for everybody, because like the things that Marcus Garvey, or the ideologies of Marcus Garvey, were not necessarily limited. And I guess if you look at it this way, a lot of the things that he had, his philosophies, are also bound to a certain time, which means that the world has moved past, in some ways, not as well, you know, but has moved past like the constraints of that particular time. And a lot of the ideologies that Marcus Garvey espoused were basically, on some level, self-defense. Yeah, because he needed to get that message across that you don't have to be dependent. So self-reliance is still relevant today. It's still relevant in 2023. Self-reliance. Don't expect people to be doing things for you. You know, do for yourself first, and
then you could have a good foundation to go and do for others. That would make sense.
You know, so that is still relevant even today, self-reliance. Do for yourself first. And that's what he basically tried to, you know, inculcate in so many people within the UNIA, because the UNIA started as a very small organization in Kingston. Yeah. And it started to grow, and it started to like just branch out into several different areas of society. They owned a newspaper, entirely black owned newspaper. They owned several businesses, and then it moved on from that to I think the pinnacle of the UNIA was the Black Star Line, having that shipping company and shipping goods from America to Africa and back and forth, having that, you know?
As African Jamaica kind of always had
I mean, it was always there, and we were eventually going to go back one way or another.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah. But I think he was one of the first persons to actually like wanted to bring a spirit of brotherhood. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's beyond this just talking about an abstract place where you're from, and actually wanting to go back, actually wanting to establish and develop the continent. So for today, it's the same thing. I mean, if you look at how many businesses now, they're talking about Africa is the next place to go and invest in and all of these things.
Yes, it is the next frontier.
You know, and
it's like a scramble for the. It's like the whole thing is coming back full circle.
Yeah, but life is always that.
Yeah, man.
The old becomes the new, and the new becomes the old. You know, and what is happening now is that if people of color don't realize and don't connect with the roots and don't realize the importance of that connection, we're going to have the same thing happen again, where they're exploited for their cultural value, for the resources.
Resource value, yeah.
You know, all of these things are going to be, and it's going to be the constant circle of exploitation. And there are too many people of color in different places in this world with so many resources, not just financial, but your skill set, your entrepreneurial spirit, you know, your maybe even just your social skills in terms of uniting people, bringing people together, driving a particular conversation and all of these things. And like, we can't expect anybody to put us on a pinnacle that we ourselves did not climb up on.
Yeah, we gotta do that for self.
But that's it. See, still relevant today.
I mean, that's why I sit back, bro. Like, even when we come back from, I'll come back to what we've been able to establish. That spirit of independence, that spirit of, I know how to do this, I can get it done. Seems difficult, but I'll finish it. That spirit. If we can instill that into 2, 4, 6 different young people coming up, then that we are at a better place than we were yesterday. And that's why I personally, like, I'm very for entrepreneurship. I feel like it is a wave of tomorrow and everybody should get on this, man. You're good at something, just see how you can flesh that out and see how you can be of service and of value to others, and you can build from there on. It's something I believe very strongly.
I believe that, but we have one problem.
What is it?
Mindset. Mindset is so important. And in today's get it quick society.
Yeah, that's where we live in now.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah.
There are so many, like, it's not something that we inculcate in children. Or like, if you look at even the educational system, like, it doesn't inculcate patience.
No.
You know what I mean? It doesn't inculcate creativity.
And critical thinking.
Not that either.
Well.
You know?
And critical thinking in a way that it's not biased. Because, like, if you're thinking from a biased idea, then the outcome or the end result of your thoughts will still be biased.
I'll give you